Hello, hello, hello. Hey, y'all, how are you doing? It is Tiffany Hicks, the CEO of VRE Training Solutions, and I am super excited today to be doing another business spotlight. Today, we have RJD, the imperfect gentleman that we are spotlighting. And I just want y'all to know that that name lets you know there's going to be some interesting stuff that's going to be coming. So, hello, RJD. How are you doing today? How was your day?
Hello, Tiffany. Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor and a privilege to be on this platform. Thank you so much. I am phenomenal. I'm having a beautiful day and I'm ending it on a wonderful note by being on this platform. So thank you.
Oh, we are honored to have you. I am always intrigued and excited to be around anyone who is so involved in their community and so passionate about what they do. That's why I'm super excited to be doing this business spotlight with you today. So I'm going to jump right in because that's how I like to do. We're just going to start off with, why don't you tell people how long or when did you start doing what it is that you do?
I would say, like I said, consciously about 6 years, but unconsciously about 8. So I would say about 8 years altogether.
Okay, so that means that you kind of deep in this thing. You got some practice. You've been doing it for a minute, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A little bit of time.
So, people always tell you that, no one, there's a saying, and I never get it right, but that's okay because, this is live. We doing what we do. But
Right.
it's really more about understanding that people don't really care about what it is that you do until they know how much you care. So tell me why you do what you do.
Because I know the detriment of a man not having his confidence. I've been down the road and I know the ins and outs of a young man who's confused about his identity. And it's one of the most dangerous things on earth for any individual not to know who they are. So my passion is literally helping men find their identity and build their confidence so they can be the men that God called them to be.
Okay. Well, you kind of started giving us a little bit of your passion pitch. So let's move forward in that. I'd love to know more. So if you had to give someone a pitch, but it's your pitch with passion, right? So not the pitch for sale, but the pitch with passion. If you could passionately share with us who you are and what you do, talk to us a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I always started the conversation off with positive energy and good vibrations. I think it's important for us to create that environment. We're going to have a phenomenal conversation. I use that with all the clients that I coach. I'm excited about this and I do what I do because it means so much to my heart. I was a young man who looked for passion, love, and pretty much acceptance in all the wrong places. I like most young men, I tried to find my identity inside of women and all kinds of things. So I'm an individual who wants to make sure that every man knows who he is, so he will not hurt anyone else in his path.
Ooh, wow. That is deep. Like that's really deep. So I'm going to ask you some more questions so that we can learn a little bit more about you and
Sure.
your company. So first, tell us what's the name of your company?
Imperfect gentleman.
Okay. All right. And how I got to go deeper than that. So how did we get you? I already know, like, because I've already set it up. Right. So how did we arrive at that name? Tell us a little bit more about the history of that name.
Okay, well, it goes all the way back to my grandmother. Growing up, I didn't really have an identity because I was a young man that didn't have a father. So no matter what in life, I just always remember that my grandmother told me, no matter what you do, you have to be a gentleman. And I said to myself, that's what I'm going to be. A gentleman is a man that stands up and takes care of himself and his community. So that's what I pride myself on being. But then I always remember, like, there's some things in life that I've done wrong. A lot of things I've done wrong in life. And because I've done those things wrong, it made me who I am today. So in order for me to be the man I am today, I have to understand and walk in who I am. And that truly is imperfect. There's nothing about me that's perfect, and there's nothing about me that's going to be perfect. But because I strive to be the best gentleman I can, God is pleased, and so am I.
I just got to take that in. I had to close my eyes for a minute. Sometimes people give me answers, and those answers I have to stop and I have to pause and I have to receive it, because that felt like what you shared. It felt like love. It didn't just feel like love for yourself. It felt like love for your clients as well. And I absolutely, that's like that speaks to my heart. So I'm going to ask a follow-up question. So what kind of clients come to you? So you talked about confidence, right? What kind of client normally comes to you and says, hey, I need this? So if you were talking to tell me your demographic.
Okay. My demographic goes from the ages of normally 16 all the way up to maybe 45, 50. My oldest client currently is 57 years old. So I have a wide range, but the focus is the young men turning into adults. I know the ups and the downs of that transition, and it's a very, very tough one that young men have to go through, and they should not go through alone.
And what kind of results would you say that that demographic is looking for, or what kind of results does your program deliver?
I help them first and foremost. You're going to have to know your identity. I'm very big on understanding who you are and whose you are. So every young man that I come in contact with, I give them a assessment to find out where they are. Because in order for me to get you where I want you to go, I have to know where you are currently. So we literally go through a process of learning who you are as an individual. What are your levels of integrity? What do you see yourself doing going forth in the future? Because if you don't have these things in line, there's no way you're going to be the man that you want to be going forward.
I'm taking all that in. All right. So leads me to how do you want the world to be different because you lived in it?
Mm, Tiffany, that's a phenomenal question. Wow. Well, first and foremost, I want everyone to pick their head up. Walk around with your head up. You was wonderfully and uniquely designed. There is another one on earth that looks like you, that can be you or give what you have to give. So I want to make sure that every person that comes in contact with me on this earth walks away with their head held high, understanding they are valuable and they have a phenomenal place here on this earth, and they need to give the earth what they have to give.
Okay. I'm digging that. I'm digging that. So my follow-up to that would be what if you thought about your business growing, and if you asked everybody to do a visualization, right? If you said, hey, close your eyes and I want you to walk through this vision with me, what does progression for yourself personally and your business look like?
Mm. Well, for me, I'm a family man. Um, have a beautiful wife and children, so there is no me without them. So going forward for that, I would love to put them in a situation that they would just be able to live and not worry about anything. As per my business, I would just want to reach as many men as I possibly can, because for me, it's not about the money, it's about the impact. And I know if I can impact some lives, I'm doing my job here on this earth. So my biggest thing is to make sure the men around me are confident in who they are, because confident men build healthy relationships. Confident men take care of their responsibilities. Confident men do things that this world needs.
So let's pause and talk about confidence for a minute, right?
Sure.
Because you're talking about building confidence in men so that they can have the lives that they want and need, so that they can be accountable and responsible. I hear a lot going on there. When I talk about confidence, could you tell me maybe one or two things that cause men to not be confident?
Absolutely. First and foremost is identity, and that's why I'm so big on it. I put men through a process of identifying their identity. The reason why we men are not confident is because they don't know who they are, and the majority of the time because they've never seen their future. Majority of young Black men haven't seen fathers. So if you haven't seen your father, you haven't seen your future. So my biggest thing is to really get the young men to understand that confidence is not just how you look, but it's how you think of yourself. Remember, if you think it, it is. So if you think that you're less than, you are. But if you think that you're better than, you are as well.
That makes me think of a book by James Allen, and it is As a Man Thinketh,
Come on.
so is he, right?
Yes,
One of
indeed.
my favorite books. And then there's also the version for women as well. So I absolutely completely connect to that. Thank you for sharing. So I have another question I'd like to ask, and this one is a little bit, it's kind of along the lines of what you were talking about as it related to progression. So I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on legacy and succession?
Mm. Well, I understand what legacy is, but I'm going to be transparent. I'm not really sure what succession is.
So succession is when you have identified who's going to take over after you. So, whether it's because you have transitioned, or if it is because you've made a decision that you don't necessarily want to work in your business, whatever that looks like for you. So it's literally planning what happens with your business, or what happens, like, even for some people, it's about life insurance, right? But legacy is, what that is. But succession is the plan that you have in place for what happens after you.
Okay, well, so my legacy is my son and my daughter. I live and breathe for them. And the succession of my company, I would love nothing other than my son to take it. My initials are RJ and his initials are JR. So I would love nothing more than my son to just grow up and be the most confident individual he is, and just help men build their confidence and take this torch and run for generations to come.
I love that answer. So my spirit is telling me that I need to ask you to tell me a story, because I know I'm like, this man has a story, and I really think I need to hear that story. So tell me a little bit of a story about you and how you arrived where you are. Like, was there a pivotal point in your life that happened that made you, like, was a switch that turned on that said, hey, this is who I used to be and this is who I now desire to be? How did you find your identity? How'd
Mm.
you build your confidence?
Uh, well, to be honest, I was a young man that had an obscene amount growing up, and I think that most children do. I was just very, very just confident about my abilities and what I could do, and then life happened. Right, life came about and showed me that I wasn't as dope as I was when I was younger. You know what I mean? Just started showing me some things about myself, and it actually snatched my confidence from me. And in that area and space of my life, I began to do things that was not a part of my character. I began to do things that I wasn't even raised to do, as in sell drugs, be promiscuous with women, and do things that were literally detrimental to my future. But it wasn't until my last time getting in trouble in New York, and my then girlfriend, my now wife, says to me, "I need you. We have to make a decision. I can't keep going back and forth with you like this. I need the real man." And in that moment, I told her, I said, "If you just give me a chance and get me out of New York, I promise you, I'll be the man you desire." So we left New York with with nothing. Our car full of the clothes that we had and our television. And we made our way down to South Florida. And when I got down here, for some reason, we as people, we believe that if we go somewhere different, different things happen, but we don't realize we bring us.
Yeah, I wanted you to get closer to the
Oh,
mic.
okay. you
We
we
want to hear
bring.
all of this.
Got you. We bring ourselves wherever we go. So I didn't understand that concept, and I thought that if I just moved from where I would just automatically turn into this individual that had this great life. But sadly to say, that wasn't the case. I came down here and I didn't have a trade. I didn't even have a skill. And because I was in New York and where I was from, I was always able to make money and just manage money in the street because I had so many connections. But down here in South Florida, a new individual, a new area, I had none of that. So one day, and I'm even ashamed to say this, that I spent my last $20 to go get a bag of weed. Now, on the way to go get the weed, I was in a cab. Now, the cab, everyone knows the cab fares continuously rise. So I've only had a few dollars for the cab. The cab slowed down. It was in traffic. So I had to hop out of the cab. When I got out of the cab, and as I'm getting out of the cab, I'm telling the dude that I walk from here a radio station. I don't know what station it was. I don't know who this man was, but he introduced me to something that I use now and I coach every man with. It's called the 5 E's. And these 5 E's changed my life dramatically. And
Mm.
I don't have a really good memory to be able to repeat things or even hear things and give them back to you. But these 5 E's, I remembered like this, and it stuck with me. And the 5 E's of simply are: evaluate where you are in life, eliminate your distractions, educate yourself on who you are and where you want to be, execute on that education, and then evolve into be the man that you want to be.
Mm.
I've never had anybody give me any instructions and then the way to develop myself. So when I heard that, I took it and I ran with it. And that literally took me from where I was of a surviving mindset to a thriving mindset and the man that I am today.
I'm gonna rest with that, but I do want to share with you. I heard so much there that I feel like we need to unpack. So in my mind, I'm like, we're gonna have to do another one of these spotlights. I do want to call out this though. You said some amazing things. So number one, I want to celebrate you. Number two, I want to celebrate your wife. So I understand that you coach men on confidence. What I also want to celebrate is a woman who knew her worth, that was willing to support you, that was willing to stand up for herself and say, I need you. Because so often women don't stand up for themselves and they don't say what it is that they need. They assume that a man knows. But if a man hasn't had that kind of guidance, how would they know? Right. So I grew up with both of my parents in the home. And I tell people that there is an amazing difference when you grow up in a home that you have one, both of your parents, and two, you have two parents who are growing and thriving, who have a mindset that is focused on how to help you sustain and maintain. Now, they didn't do everything perfectly, but they did create in me an integrity. They did create in me a confidence. So that's the thing about me. People like there be men that will say to me, you grew up with your daddy in the house, didn't you? I'd be like, yeah, how you know? And then they be like, you're super confident. And I don't see it as confidence. I see it as I do know who I am. I know that I'm Melvin's daughter. I know that I'm Glenda's daughter. I know that I am God's child. These are the things that I know, right? And it helps me be a better person. And so I'm excited that you shared those things. I think there's somebody out there that needs to hear that. I know that that story is going to resonate with a lot of people. I have an interesting story that I tell people all the time. I'm not really that far off from some of the things that you have encountered or done. We all have some things that we probably could have made. No, we definitely could have made better decisions. I also say that if I didn't do the things that I did, I would not have become the woman that I am now. And I used to beat myself up. And I used to say, if I knew this then, but in my prayer life, I had to get to a point where I understood that if I knew it then, I wouldn't have known what to do with it. If
Come
I
on.
knew it then, I probably would not have turned out to be this person because my experiences would have been different. And I like who I am. I like who I am becoming, because I am becoming someone that one, the kingdom would be proud of, and two, all those that are around me. And I'm very, very much about letting lights shine. Right. So
Indeed.
this has been an amazing conversation. I do want to share with people. So tell me, what do you have going on? Like, what's going on in your business? Do you have any events? Do you have any programs that you want to invite people to? What do you have happening in RJD's The Imperfect Gentleman's World?
Well, I actually have my first annual men's retreat coming up. It's called the Imperfect Fathers Outlet, where fathers come to plug in. A lot of fathers and husbands lose themselves in between those father and the husband title as men. So I'm creating an atmosphere where dads and fathers can just come be men again. They can just come conversate. And the theme is collaborating, networking, and confidence development. Men need to network. We need to collaborate, and we also need to be confident in ourselves. So that's the first one is going to be on my birthday this year. October is the 6th. And I'm really excited about that one. I'm putting all my eggs in one basket for this. I really want to make this event life-changing. And I want it to be generational life-changing. I don't want it just to be for the generation that I touch now. I want this event to be generational. I want the men to go home and take the information, the knowledge, and the power and give it to their young ones. I want to see changes from my son and my daughter when they be able to come and be adults that I know I did something in this world that created a space for them to be happy in. So that's the one thing I have going on right now. And the other ones I have my program, my modules that I consistently do every week. And I do a webinar every 2 weeks on confidence development.
Okay, so I have some follow-ups. Okay, the conference that you're doing, is that in person only, or is it in person and virtual?
I'm going to work on my best to make it and virtual as well. It's right now as we speak, it's only in person, but I'm working on getting my digital guys and streaming guys together so I can make it virtual as well.
Okay, and so where can people go if they're in your area to register? Because I imagine everyone will watch this. So where could someone go to get registered for that conference?
You will be able to go to my my Instagram. It's rjd.imperfectgentleman. And you can go click the link in my bio, and then you will be able to register from the link in my bio.
Okay, so that was a perfect segue. The next thing was, how can we find you in these social media streets? Like, what platforms are you on? How can somebody get to you? What's your website? Because there's some people that I imagine that will watch this and will say, number one, they need it, or number two, they know someone that needs it. And I'm super excited to have you as a success partner. So share with us how we can find you.
Awesome. You can find me on Instagram at rjd.theimperfectgentleman. And you can also find me on my podcast. It's called The Imperfect Fathers. That's on YouTube. Imperfect Fathers Podcast on YouTube. My website, you can find me at theimperfectgentleman.club.club. And there you'll be able to find my website and see the things I have the world's offer as well. And just if you want to see all of my social media on one area, it's theimperfectgentleman10k.com. There you'll be able to see everything I have to offer, all my emails, everything I have is on that one digital business card.
So thank you. So I want to take us out with this. Like, and this is the first time that I've done this on the spotlight, but it's because you just kind of evoked this in me. If you had one parting thing that you had to say to your target audience, or to young men, or to a man who is lacking some confidence, doesn't really know where he's headed, and doesn't know his identity, what is some advice that you would give that person?
First and foremost, I would tell you just to be human. First and foremost, take it easy. Stop beating yourself up. You're worth it. You're valuable. You have value. And the man who's struggling with his confidence and his identity, I would just tell that king, first of all, you are a king. That is your identity. That's a part of your identity. You are a king. And the second part of it, I would say to him is, all you have to do is really tap in and channel it, and channel the energy that you use currently to beat yourself up, and use that energy to build yourself up. And everything around you will conform to what you want.
And there y'all have it. Like, we are really ending it on that note. Like, if I had a mic, I'd have dropped it for him. I enjoyed that. Thank you, King, for joining us. I am super excited. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to us having more of these conversations. Look, you probably the first one that I'm thinking, do I need to turn this spotlight into a series?
Listen, I'm here for it. Let me know.
Like, I feel like we have so much that that we could talk about and chop it up about. I know that we had a limited time, because we try to keep these spotlights, to a place where people want to listen to them, and it's not so much information that it's overwhelming. I have thoroughly enjoyed the time that I've spent with you. So I'm just going to share with everybody out there, if you have watched this spotlight, leave some comments, tell us what you thought, share with us. If you know somebody that needs to come over and watch this video, share it with them, like it, leave a comment, because we love encouragement. A lot of times we're out here in the world doing the best that we can. We don't necessarily do it for praise, but it is so rewarding when someone appreciates what we do and how we are helping and how we are serving people. So I just encourage you to like, comment, and share, and follow our channel. Go out and go follow RJD. He has some amazing, this young man has some good stuff to say. So I'm thankful. And I'm thankful to all of you who have taken the time to stop and watch. Again, I am Tiffany Hicks, the CEO of VRE Training Solutions, and I'll just leave you with a parting thought. Be intentional.
There you go. Be intentional.